Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, where I'm joined by some friends. It's been a while since I've spoken to both Chantele from Reality Realness and Drew from the Angel Cake Vits channel here on YouTube. But for those that are no newcomer to this channel, you would know that there has been a battle between us for ages for fantasy, draft pick, dominance, and Chantele, all the pressure on you coming into this one. You did say to us in our DMs earlier when we spoke about planning this thing and putting it together that you kind of feel like you've gone backwards. So there's some pressure on you coming into this draft. How are you feeling coming into the draft?
I am taking a completely new strategy on how I'm going to be drafting.
Oh. If you guys can hear me, I am not hearing Chantele, so I'm not sure if it's just on my end. Drew, can you hear Chantele?
No, I can't hear you. No.
Okay, now it wasn't letting me unmute. Weird. Okay.
That is strange. Yeah.
Oh, and now the mic's not on. Okay, maybe it. Okay, weird. Something weird happened. Okay,
This
maybe
is not a good sign for you.
It's quiet me. It's silencing me. I don't want my thoughts and feelings to be heard here. But what I was saying is that what I've been doing is not working. And they say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So I am doing something completely different to expect a different result. And I'll let you know what that is that I'm doing as we get off the draft.
I feel like Drew and I already got like a little taste of that. You're muting yourself right off the bat to try and throw Drew and myself off. She's pretending, Drew, like she doesn't know what she's doing. But is this all the cunning plan of a mad scientist coming into this draft that has got us figured out? Because we know Chantele wants to get a win. And Drew, you're someone that I still think leads overall with most draft wins. I think I have narrowed the gap in recent seasons. In fact, I'm coming into this specific one as the reigning All-Stars champion. But do you have the numbers there, Drew? It'd be interesting to know if you've got the numbers. But I feel like it's the pressure's
I don't
still
have the
on
numbers on me at the moment, but I do know that you won All-Stars 4, which in the All-Stars realm, I think Chantele won All-Stars 1, I won 2 and 3, and then you won 4. So it's 1-1-2 at the moment. But I do know that you are getting close, if not surpassed at this point. I don't know.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if it surpassed you, because you had like the maddest run for a while there before any of us won anything. But I'm so looking forward to this specific draft. I mean, we haven't spoken about the challenge in a long time, and that's due to scheduling and things like that. So I don't know where both you are sitting at the moment when it comes to your challenge hype. I mean, I've been low on the last 2 finals that we saw because of production interference. I'm not a big fan of that. But Chantele, how are you feeling coming into this challenge All-Stars 5 rival season? Are you hopeful?
Well, if any indication is the fact that I have not yet watched the reunion part 1 of the challenge regular main show, and I'm here today to talk about this season, I would say that shows that my interest for this is way more than that of the main show. So I love the idea of rivals. I'm really hoping that it going to MTV, it's not going to water it down, because what I love about it being on Paramount Plus is that people are a little bit more candid, a little bit more themselves. You know, we got some volatile characters. Are we going to be able to see them at their maximum, their fullest? So I am hopeful, and I'm just excited just to see some people play that we haven't seen in a while. And they're likely going to get into confrontations. And so I like some drama, and we haven't had that much drama in recent years. And so I'm looking forward to some new drama on the scene.
Drew, this is an interesting season coming into this. I think the fans are divided. I actually did watch your introduction into the season, so I know your thoughts coming into this one. Coming slightly prepared, I wanted to have an idea of what you were thinking of the cast, but you're a politician, my man. You don't give anything away. You were very neutral, I feel like, on your cast assessments, so I don't know if I necessarily learned anything, but one thing I did see there was you discussing the point that there's so many newcomers playing this season of All-Stars when All-Stars was supposed to be for OGs. It was supposed to be for the original. How are you feeling as an OG fan coming into this season? I know we're hyped for the Rivals theme that fans have wanted to see for a while, but what's your thoughts coming into the season? Are you hyped?
I'm growing. I'm growing in hype. Even though my shirt says I got too hype, I'm growing in hype because it is one of those things where there's so many weird things. I don't think the newcomers are like that big of a shock because of how like All Stars is such a vague term. It's a buzzword to get audience members to watch. It's vague enough to where you can put anybody on there and it can be whatever. And I think that this iteration of All Stars is what the MTV team wanted all along. Like they went with Mark's original thing, and then they were like slowly creeping in people. You got Jordan coming in, and All Stars 3, you got Wes coming in, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Fessel. And it's like, what? No, like Big T and Corey L. What are we doing here? But that's what they wanted all along. They wanted to bridge it over, and then so having the newcomers in, and then it also being on MTV is just it's just a little alarm bells going off in my head. And then on top of that, you have what happened in All Stars 4 final with the stars, everybody handing out stars. Then you have the karma points, and it's like, I don't want this thing to become a tradition. I don't want to see that propel into the future and everything. So I don't know. There's little alarm bells, but after seeing the trailer, I kind of got a little bit more hype. So I'm kind of leaning in there, but I've been goofed on trailers before where they put something in and it's like, I can't wait till I see that scene in there. And then the scene never makes it into the challenge. And I'm like, where the heck was that scene? So
yeah. Classic gotcha. They do that all the time to create a hook for people to tune into the season. But Drew, I'm with you on that. I don't know what to expect from this season. I think it's best we go into the draft. We leave our thoughts until we actually start talking about the cast in depth. And I'm going to go back to you, Drew, since you're the one that's got the spreadsheet. You're the one that sort of manages the order and all those kind of things. And in fact, I did want to say hello to a bunch of people. We've got Chris, Demetria, Sue, Willie, Julia C. Who else do we have here? Sue Becker. I don't know if I said hello. Georgette is in the live as well. Danica, welcome back to the live. Ricky, Dreadful Ruby, Darren Hawkins, a lot of faithful viewers of all of our channels here to watch us do battle once more. Thank you for jumping on, everyone. Chris did say earlier here as well, no spoilers for All Stars 5. All spoilers will be deleted and you will be banned from the chat, so please keep it clean, and Chris will be looking out for that. Chris, thank you so much. You will also notice if you're watching this at a later stage, I turned the comment section off for this for afterwards because people tend to come back to these drafts in the future and then they comment spoilers when we don't have moderators in the comment section, and I don't want to be spoiled on this season. It's just too juicy of a cast for me to get spoiled halfway into the season. But Drew, let's get into the order. If you can let us know what's happening. I think a bunch of people in the live chat also wants to know who won season 40. So if you can let them know who won season 40 maybe first, and then we'll go into what the order is going to look like in this draft.
Yeah, I could definitely talk about who won season 40. So it's kind of weird because I can't find our trio draft board. Realistically, I don't know.
Oh, just the three of us? You mean not? We did.
I think we did one. I think we only did one draft with Kahuna included for season 40.
Okay.
Are we talking about did we do two of these though? Did we do one, just the three of us, and then another one, or was that something else?
Not for season 40.
Oh, no, not for
All Stars we did.
Yeah, for All Stars we did. Okay, I got confused there. So Challenge 40, coming in third place, I'll just get to the results. Coming in third place, it was Team Chantele, who got 503 total points. Her last standing player was Cara Maria, who got eliminated on the final elimination against Tori. So sorry, Chantele. But you did get fourth place. Speaking of Tori, Chris, Tori was your final player left in the game heading into the final.
She was looking good until the final.
She was looking great until the final, and then she didn't even place in the final besides fourth place. Frustrating there, but she was able to get you 229 points on your way to getting 584 points. Nearly half your points came from Tori. Corey was your second highest player with 130. So good job getting Corey there. It came down to me and Kahuna, who had the most players left in the game. Kahuna had 3 players in the finals. I had 4 players heading into the final. And Kahuna got second place with 968 points. And I got first place with 1,115 points. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Michelle. Also, shout out to the Karma Points for helping Rachel get the.
Like dig it in and stick the knife in and twist it that Drew
Yeah.
would just in points.
What did I say about Karma Points? I love them so much. Anyway, but just throwing that, I will say that helps a little bit because in reality, we're going off of the All-Stars 4 results, and I came in dead last. I came in third place, and I was the one that was blanked out from anybody making the final. I had Flora and I think one other person, and they all got purged right before the final. So I came in dead last. Chantele got second place, and Chris got first place. And you are the reigning champ of All-Stars 4.
Who would have believed that, Chantele, when we started doing All-Stars drafts back in season 1 when I knew nothing about the OG players?
But that's the thing is they start bringing in the young guns and
It's
then
true.
you just like draft them up and I'm like, it's just like, it's not authentic to All-Stars and I'm trying to hold on authenticity and you're like, he's 30. I'm like, fine. And so, yeah.
And can I just say, while we were going through all those incredible intros, I do have the numbers for where we sit with all of our drafts and everything. Chantele,
wow.
You are sitting at 2 wins, winning All-Stars 1 and Season 37. Chris, you are at 5 wins, and I, too, am at 5 wins. So we are actually tied.
Juicy.
So we've done 12 of these drafts, by the way. Holy heck. 12.
Holy heck.
This is our 12. This is our 13th, lucky 13, and Chris and I are going in tied. Whoa, this is incredible.
That's insane. Well, all the pressure, like I said, on Chantele coming into this draft. So Chantele, it's on you. Let's see what happens here. Drew, so with me winning the last one, Chantele getting second place, and then yourself getting in dead last, we have agreed to the order coming into this draft, which will have you pick in the first round. Chantele will pick in the second round. I will pick dead last because I am coming in with a bit of a handicap on this one. Then I will have the 4th pick. Chantele will have the 5th, and Drew will have the 6th pick. So it's going to be like a classic snake ladder. We're also going to try something different on how we display the draft this time around so that it's a little bit easier for everybody to follow along. So let me just have a look at this. We'll put it something like that. Getting used to the new software. So, okay, so let's go. So we've got the draft up there for everybody to see. And Drew is going to be the man behind the steering wheel for us in the background who will put all of these teams into the draft as we continue down the draft. And I am excited about the draft. Drew, you've got the mic. I don't know if anybody's got any final words before we start the draft off officially. Chantele, any fighting words before we start this?
I don't like that I feel ganged up on. The fact that you two I'm trading up wins, 5 wins apiece, la-di-da-di-da. And I feel that it's time for me to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes and just at least get a win here on All-Stars 5. So I got a lot of heart and a lot of faith coming into this draft.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe we should add like karma points for the chat in the future, and that could really mess up our draft results in the end.
I actually don't hate that, but I also don't want it.
Maybe
not this draft.
I'd pull a Rachel and be like, "Hey, a win's a win, right?"
Yeah. Get the 3 rings on the finger. Be like, I've got the and it would be the 3rd win as well, similar to Rachel.
Somebody who doesn't have like anybody going into the final somehow finds themselves in like first place or tied with first place. That would be wild.
Chris says, you've got this, Chantele. Girl power. Okay, so Drew, you are up. Tell us.
Whoa.
Who are you picking?
Okay. I feel a little bit nervous now about this. But I do want to show off my I Got Too Hype shirt. If you know, you know. And I'll let everybody else know if they don't know where it's from. So coming into this draft, I'm thinking that this is like wide open. Sure, there's some players that are a little bit more athletic than some people. There are some people that maybe could work better together. But I came into this draft pretty open-minded. You know, I don't think a lot of stat work is going to be the right way to go about this. I feel like this is a draft more than anything because not to bash on this cast, but I feel like the cast is more centered towards drama, and that's why they put all these people together and why it's a rival season. And I feel like that's where you have to bank your thing. I've already tried to get my drafts going through who could win and all this other stuff, and it's blown up in my face to where I have one player left, no players left, or the people that I think is going to win don't win, and they don't do as much as I would like them to do. So I went a whole different route. I did my own rankings. I also had the help of the bakery rating all of these players, and I put them into I averaged it out with my close confidant Kristen as well. So we have gotten a list of players, and I think I'm going to go with a pair that is fairly highly rated on the bakery side. I think that they can get they're going to get a ton of confessionals. They're going to get some argument points. They can argue with each other. They can start arguing with other people. I feel like they are going to be safe, the safest route to go for. And so, in my opinion, I am going to pick the pair that I have nicknamed Shavon, but really it is Davon and Shane. I will pick them first, banking in professional points. They both are good competitors where they could win a daily challenge here or there. I feel like they could win an elimination here or there, but overall I'm going to bank in confessional points, narration, and drama points. They could argue with each other and then pick fights with everybody else. So that's who I'm going for with my first pick.
All right, put him in there for Drew. Team Drew getting the first team here, Davon and Shane. First draft pick, bold move. Chantele, what's your thoughts on that pick?
I mean, I do love that pick. I love that, we've been anticipating Davon coming back onto the scene. She's probably not going to be super excited that it's a rival season, but we have seen her be able to work with some pretty volatile characters, that being Bear, and being decently successful at that. And so I think because Shane is pretty strong, and I feel like they're going to be a little bit older. They might have gotten over some things. They might have a couple little spats in the beginning, but I think they'll be able to work together. I think they're both pretty good at confessionals, so lots of confessional points. They're going to argue, and they might even argue with other people. So I just think that, it's going to be a very solid point getter for sure. I don't know how they're going to necessarily gel and work together, but I could see them figuring it out. I feel like they would both be trying hard to figure it out, and then, leave all their drama when they get to the daily, or leave all their drama when they get to an elimination. And I think they might be able to figure out how to work together. So I think it's a pretty strong pick.
For me personally, I was going to be a lot lower on Davon and Shane until I actually watched your video, Drew, doing the cast assessment, where you reminded me on that cast assessment that Davon actually is a beast at eliminations, and specifically in the season where she was, I think it was paired up with Bear, where she kept going in one after the other, and she was eliminating people and sending them home. Davon actually could be potentially a little bit of an underdog coming into this season. Maybe a bit of a sleeper team, like you said on your cast assessment. So I knew you were going to place them high based on the work that you did there, but I didn't know that you were going to pick them number one in this case. But they definitely can get to a final. I don't know if they can win a final, but if they go deep into the season, there's going to be drama points. They're like, Davon is the queen at confessionals. So I think if you're thinking about all the points that are at stake here, and maybe this is a good time for you, Drew, to also let us know how the point system is going to work. Just for people who haven't sort of been around for a while and maybe have never seen one of these drafts, it's not just outright winning the season, but there's a lot of extra points that you get for drama. So if you maybe want to do a quick rundown on that.
Yeah. So normally how it goes, we get 1 point per confessional. So it's PPC, points per confessional. So if you have somebody who is a storyteller or is somebody who is forefront, the face of the season, then you're going to get confessionals. You're going to get some points. Daily wins are 5 points. Elimination wins are 3 points. If there's some kissing and making out, which I feel is going to be very minimal on this season, especially being on MTV. But if so happens, 2 points per kiss and make out. Argument drama is 2 points per, so it's always going to be beneficial to get somebody who is a little bit more bombastic, a little bit more out there. Disqualifications, if it says on the screen disqualification, DQ, or anything like that, or they quit, it's minus 2 points. If your players make it to the finals, you get plus 10. And then for a win, you get 50 big bonus points. And then you get some extra plus 15 points for most confessionals, most daily wins, 0 elimination scene. And then winning a phase in the final, you get plus 15 for your teams as well. Yeah. I do want to say this real quick about Shane and Davon. I think it is a risky pick because neither of them have made a final in their challenge career, but this is the tricky part about this cast is that I had a different team at number 1. Kristen had a different team at her number 1, and then the bakery had a different team in their number 1. So it was like the top 5 was somewhat similar players, but they were all jumbled up. So I feel like if you're going for somebody, I might as well play it safe with the first pick. And I just feel like Davon and Shane are, I think, well equipped, well strategized, and could get a lot of points. So I'd rather take that situation going into the game.
Perfect.
Uh-oh. Chris, are you talking?
I guess I'm talking. Chris, we do not hear you at this moment if we are supposed to, just so you know.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was just saying, just a reminder for everybody who's picked first. So Shane and Devon out first, but Chantele, you're next with the second pick here. So over to you.
So I don't have a bakery to be consulting with. So because I'm an Aquarius likes innovation. They like technology. They like the internet. I decide to plug in stats and information into ChatGPT to be my personal bakery here.
Oh.
And so Chat has given me an order that they suspect will be who will get the most points and win down to potentially the least points and lose. So I looked at the order that ChatGPT gave to me, and I am okay with standing with ChatGPT, standing with AI to see whether or not this will help me be able to get this win. Now, I'm not saying that I just left it all up. I looked at the list and I was like, do you know what? This list is okay. I can go for this list. And so we'll see. I'll let you guys know as how ChatGPT thinks that the order is going to be. So starting off first, still getting what is ChatGPT's number 1 draft pick out of these 13 pairs. And Chat went with Fessel and Amber as their first pick. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Fessy, but he is like 6'4", 6'5". We know he's the D1 athlete. He doesn't necessarily get along with Amber, but she is a winner. And Fessy's been to, was it 2 or 3 finals? He is going to do well, likely in the dailies. I think that they'll be able to work well enough together. He's, smart with like math stuff and, brain games, and Amber's really great at endurance. I just think that they might be able to gel and work together because they both want the win. They have to work together. So what ChatGPT says about them, why I should choose them in the number 1 position, it says, Amber's championship experience and Fessy's dominance in dailies and eliminations make them consistent top performers, likely to earn points from daily wins, eliminations, and it says and for confessionals. I'm not sure about confessionals, but maybe. I wouldn't say that they're the confessional king and queen over here, but that's what ChatGPT says. And I'm going to stand by ChatGPT with this number 1 pick here. I do think that they have a pretty good potential of doing well, and I think people might be scared of them as an entity. Sometimes that works in the favor of some of these power players that nobody wants to go down against them in elimination. So if the format serves them, they might be able to evade elimination. And I think that if they get to the end, they would be the dominant top dogs to be winning a final. So I stand with ChatGPT.
What a strategy. All is revealed here by Chantele, having her own bakery sort of coming into this one. And I'm not going to lie, Chantele, I did something very similar, but I actually consulted Grok for it. So it's Grok versus ChatGPT in this draft here today. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to win out in the end. Is it going to be Elon Musk's Grok or is it going to be ChatGPT? But I'm really worried because
we're human beings as a collective and a community. I will say humans can do it too.
Well, isn't ChatGPT actually, and I guess Grok having all human data that they're considering in this? So it's all humans.
I will say one thing though. Even though I consulted Grok, I thought Grok was a bit cooked in the head, so I'm not going to fully go down the line of who it chose. It even had like people from previous rival seasons ranked in it. It wasn't even like accurate to this specific season of rival.
I gave specific parameters, so I definitely curated it to make sense here.
So basically what Chantel's saying, it's a human error, Chris. You got to get with the game. You don't know how to use AI yet. But no, listen, I like Fessy and Amber as an early pick. I did have them in my top 3 teams coming into this season as well. I do think that if they can find a way to work together, and I think the one thing we know about these Big Brother players is that they're strategic. People don't always like that, but if they're paired together, I don't think there's going to be that much drama between the two of them. Plus, Amber's not going to have to fight for the approval of Fessy with any of the other Big Brother players this season. Like, there's no other Big Brother players coming in, so she's not going to feel like the ugly stepchild, which she would never be ugly, but, you know, she's not going to feel like she fits into that spot. So I just think the drama is not going to be there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work with the likes of, like, a Nani, for instance. You know, Nani obviously being with Casey, and then you've got Fessy being close friends with Casey. Then you also have the likes of Devon coming into this season that is a part of the Vacation Alliance. Like, there is still the potential here for a very strong main season alliance to come into this All-Star season. So I do think that they have got some protection in numbers coming into the season. And then Fessy, if you like him or hate him, you know, I'm pretty neutral. I think that the more fans talk about him, the more fans are annoyed by Fessy, the bigger the sort of carrot is out there for production to continue to bring him back because he's still in people's mouths, you know. So I don't hate it. I think it's going to be an interesting season. They're obviously younger, and coming into an all-star season where they're going to go up against some oldies, that could play into it. But the one thing we don't know about Amber is how fit is she at the moment? Has she been keeping up since she's had the baby? Because not just the fact that she's had a baby, but now her priorities has changed, right? A lot about her life has been about this family that she's starting. Has she stayed fit? Has she stayed in the scene so that she can come back and actually perform in the season? That's all to be unknown. And then we know that Fessy can crack under pressure. Like, he had his best friend Casey running a final with him, and he burnt her out in a final. So how's that going to play out? But I do think if we're looking, I'm not surprised ChatGPT went that way. Statistically, they're a very strong team coming into this season. Drew, thoughts?
I think it's going to be a really solid pick at the end of the day. Bakery had them ranked in their top 3 at number 3. I will say that with Fessel and Amber, the only thing I would say is that you're banking on them winning, because I don't necessarily know how much drama points, or like if they can win, and I feel like they could win every single elimination, I could see them winning a ton of daily challenges. You're just banking on them to win, and I think they have the best opportunity. If they make that final, I think that they could win that final, you know? So I think that's overall, like, as a competitive group, I agree. I just worry, and I've always put in so much hype into, like, oh, you got to pick the best, the best of the best when it comes to the competition, and it hit me in the face a couple of times. I just don't know if there's going to be some hookups, but hey, you never know. And I will say, Chris, I could tell you for a fact with some of the stuff that Chauncey puts up on his Instagram and Twitter stuff, and then she's gotten some promotions out there for her content specifically, and she's keeping it.
Oh,
locked up. She's keeping it locked up.
That's good. And Chris trying to like change my words here, saying that I'm doubting mothers. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying she's got other responsibilities. Like, she may not be doing that. Okay, so Chris coming for me. It's getting hot real early in the draft picks here. So we have got the first 2 teams selected, and the next one is going to be Up to me to select who is going to go as my first round pick, and then I also have the fourth round pick, 2 in a row here. And the first team I'm going to go to. Now, if you asked me a couple of seasons ago when Turbo returned if I would pick him first, I would have said no. But I am going to pick Turbo and Nani first in the first round. The reason for it being is that Turbo's featured all over the promos coming into this season with the hat, and he's just featured so prominently, and I'm seeing him in the trailer. He's looking good. Nani and Turbo played together in War of the Worlds. They were a very strong team, so I'm surprised that no one has picked him prior, and both Nani and Turbo prior to this. And Turbo's a bit of an uncontrollable unit, but I do feel like when they were together, Nani kind of controlled him a little bit and kept him in his cage a little bit. And coming into the season, hopefully Turbo's learned. Hopefully he's learned that he can't fight everyone to get to the end and win the game on his own. He has to work with alliances. Nani does have people in this house, like we just said. She probably can work with Fessy and Amber. She probably can work with Devin and Leroy. I think she's one of the most connected people in the house. So with Turbo's ability to win finals and being an absolute super athlete and Nani's social game, I feel like that's the perfect balance coming into a season like this. I also think that they'll get plenty of confessionals. There's going to be a lot of drama between Turbo and Nani and what happened in the last season that they played together. So I just feel very solid about this pick. And Drew, I kind of agree with you that, when you did your cast assessment, you said that this season, the producers is giving it to Nani. They're like, here's your win on a silver platter. If she can't win this season, I will go as far. I'll double down on what you said. She's never winning any challenge season in the future. Thoughts on that one, Drew?
Oh man, it sounds so bad, but I have said it a couple of times. I mean, she's gotten so many opportunities, and this is it. Like, this is a golden platter. So people were wondering who I had put as my number one team. For a while, it was Nani and Turbo I had up there. I feel like they can win. They're the only real pair at this moment that, yes, has had like rough patches, but they have worked together. They were paired up with each other. So they can work together. And they did incredibly well on season 33 when paired up together. So I feel like Nani is going to be a driving force. I don't know how many confessionals Turbo is going to get, but I think Nani's going to be a driving force. She is somebody that has been on a lot of challenge seasons. I think she's going to be a major player. So I feel like she could get a lot of confessionals. Turbo's going to get into it with everybody. Nani and Fessel or anybody, realistically. Frank's in here. And I just feel like this is a team that I could see winning dailies, winning eliminations, confessionals, arguments, the whole deal. The only thing that I think is a little bit worrisome is what if the same thing happens in season 38 happens here, where Turbo gets thrown in and then everybody's helping the other team in a memory game or something like that. Because Nani has some friends like Fessel and Anissa, but that's not like the normal grouping that she normally has. She doesn't have a huge deep web connection of everybody in here. But you never know what's going to happen. So I think that this is a solid pick. It's definitely in the top 3. It was number 2 for the bakery. It was number 1 for me. And I think it's a really solid pick.
Thoughts on the pick, Chantele?
When they were number 1 for me, like when I was thinking about like how I'd want to potentially choose, and I was really toying in my head when I had, I had them as an option with my pick, but I just wanted to stick with chat just to see if that strategy will work for me. So I definitely thought that they are a great pick. I do agree that the producers are giving Nani her second best time to be able to win this. Like, she should have won that with bananas, but they really just messed it up with those damn cinder blocks. Because if they had done that, like more like how Derek did it in 40, they would have likely have won the season. So I do think this is definitely Nani's season to lose. She has the perfect partner who she already kind of knows and knows how to work with to potentially win this season against people that are not necessarily all going to be as super physically competitive for them. So I do think that it's strong. My only worry is that Turbo, he always doesn't care to go down and prove himself. He's always like, well, whatever, I'll just go, I'll fight them, I'll go down, he doesn't play a smart game in that way
That's
by
fair.
avoiding some conflict to avoid being put down in a situation where you could go home. And so I do worry that his interactions with the other players might get them sent down into something that they're not good at and then go home. So they're a little bit of a volatile pairing, but I think that they could be a very successful pairing. It really depends on if they end up working well together and how many people he rubs the wrong way. So scary pick, but a good scary pick. They were my number one draft, personally.
I'm really happy that Turbo is still in the conversation to get these callbacks and to play the challenge at least. I wasn't sure where he left off in the previous season when he kind of burned out. But I also have the 4th pick coming into this season, and I've half listened to you guys, but I've also half stressed about the fact that I need to do the next pick. And in my mind, I'm going back and forth. Like,
what's Grok saying?
I know what I know what I want to do, and I know the chat's going to absolutely burn me for doing this. I'm going to say that I'm leaning this way just because I'm thinking of the 2 male teams. There's 2 male teams currently in this cast, and predominantly when you get seasons like this, if it's a final where there's a lot of running and they've got to go uphill and things like that. Physiologically, it kind of suits them. We don't have a Jenny West this season that can beast any of the men. So I feel like it's the fact that there's still these 2 teams up for grabs is making me lean that way. But I have serious reservations about both those teams, which is probably why both of you have not gone in that direction. I promised myself after picking Leroy in season 40 I wouldn't pick him again. So I think I'm leaning that way because Leroy's been absolutely pitiful in his last couple of seasons coming back and playing the game. And I don't know how he is going to perform this season, even though he's got Devin there, who's a very solid game player. I just don't know if I rate Devin that much either. And I'm not a fan of Adam. Don't like the guy. I think he's very petty, but could get a lot of drama points this season. Petty points. And then Steve is an absolute animal, and he had such a good showing in All-Stars 4, and I didn't pick Steve that season. It was, I think, in the one that we did with Kahuna. Kahuna picked him, and I remember him punishing us with that pick because Steve just outperformed everybody. He kept sending people home in the eliminations and then ended up doing well towards the end of the season as well. So I'm leaning this way. I'm going to go with Adam and Steve because of that. I think I'm going to take Adam and Steve in this next spot because, like I said, 2 male teams up for grabs. I need to get one of them. Devin and Leroy is also probably going to be a part of that alliance of Fessy, Amber, and Nani. I already have Nani and Turbo. I don't want to hedge all my bets on that alliance in case it falls over. So yeah, I feel like Adam and Steve is going to be my next pick. Now, if you asked me coming into this, I thought maybe one of you would have picked one of these 2 teams already. But thoughts on that pick, Chantele? Adam and Steve is going to be my second pick, round pick number 4.
It's definitely a good idea to get the 2, like the male on male teams, one of them at least, just for the fact that we don't know what challenges they're going to have, but in the past they haven't really cared on, like, if one gender is going to be better at something than others. Like, fairness is not always in play with how they construct some of these challenges. So I do think that it will be useful to have 2 men on one team at some point in the game. And so I definitely think it's a good good pick.
I feel better with you saying that, so it's not just the guy backing another guy team here on the podcast.
But it's just kind of a fact, it's just a human body, physiological, factors. So I do think that, Adam was starting to get some good confessionals. He was getting a little spicy with some people. And so maybe he's going to have, maybe he'll cause a little more friction with some other people. Maybe him and Steve might kind of go at it a little bit. And yeah, we were impressed by Steve. And so I could see both of them being like the older guys having something to prove on All-Stars. This is their platform, the platform that was built for them. I could see them wanting to do very well. But I could also see people, like the newer class people, not knowing who they are, never seen their season, and just feel like there's someone that they could just throw into elimination depending on the structure. So we do have that side of things, but I don't think that they're going to do the worst in any daily and fall into the last place position. And if last place goes in, like, I don't think that they're going to be in that situation. But if there's some power going on and people are going to be throwing people into elimination, I think that they would be a team that a lot of people might be like, I don't really know them, so toss them in there. So you might be able to combat.
Drew, thoughts on this pick here in the fourth round, or fourth spot, I should say.
All right, so I want to just say a few things. I don't know about all your fangled physiological stuff or whatever, but I just remember back in season 40 when all the women were out swimming all the men and they needed life preservers, and the women were able to outdo the
Which
men.
one of these women, Drew? Tell me, which one of the women in this season is going to outperform? Like, I don't think there's any of them at the level of the final four that we had in season 40. I think the final four in season 40
women were stacked on season 40. So we don't are any of the women from season 40 on this season? No. So
like, it's
Amber
just,
outpacing CT and everybody in season 36 run. So I will not stand for this, because I will say
listen to him.
that this is an abomination. No, I'm just kidding. But I do think that it is weird that there's like two men teams, but there's something inside me. There's a little voice in the back of my head saying, this is a red herring. You know, I feel like everybody's going to lean that way, saying like these two guys, teams are going to be like stacked and move forward and everything. And I just don't know. You know, I don't necessarily subscribe that I feel like Adam's going to get all these kinds of confessionals and everything. I feel like his was inflated due to Avery being there, and then like, ooh, they're going to get together after the season. Ooh. And it's like, I don't care, you know, go hang out with each other. But I feel like I'm a little cooled down on their confessionals. I think the same way I feel about Amber and Fessel, they are going to be strong physically. You're just going to be banking on them winning, which they can win. They can win eliminations. They can win daily challenges, but it's banking on the men or them winning. And if they can make it to the final, that'd be great. I think their closest allies are Katie and Veronica, because both have done like seasons with both of them. So it could work out. I just don't know how much
are him and Katie good right now? Are Steve and Katie good?
I don't know. You know, I'm not all up in that business on social media. I try to stay away from all that. I just don't know. I don't know. Kristen had Adam and Steve kind of high. I think the bakery had them in the top 4. I had them in my top 5. So I think it's solid, but I just question. I just felt like I felt a little trepidation, not like I did with like Davon and then Nani and Turbo, where it's like I feel like there's points on the table and I'd rather grab those instead of like going for an Emmanuel, you know, in season 39, or go for a Corey in USA 2, where it's like, hey, they should do well, and then they do well, but then it's like, okay, on the way there, it wasn't as thrilling or as many points as I had hoped. That's all I'm going to say.
I wish I started with you on the assessment and then went to Chantele, because she had better words for me on that one. You're making me feel terrible with this pick, because definitely from an alliance standpoint, I think they have some work to do. I'll just once again say Steve is a beast when it comes to being an elimination, so I still feel confident that he could pull it out if he did go down there. I just don't know about Adam. Adam's the question mark there. A lot of this rides on Steve for me. Okay, Chantele, we're going to go over to you for your second overall pick. This is the standing so far with those 4 teams being taken off the board. What direction did the Stat GPT chat tell you to go into?
Okay, so let's see if you guys can figure it out. While Blank is a confessional machine and strong strategist, and Blank's physicality and experience make them contenders in dailies and finals, their social connections should keep them safe early.
I think it's going to be a Nissan Ashley.
No, I'm going to not listen to what Drew has to say. I think he is keeping me away from the other male team because he wanted them for himself. And I am taking Devin and Leroy off the table. Now, I know that Leroy has not done as well as we had hoped he would do. He did get to the final, though, in All-Stars 4. His performance in general wasn't that great. And then, obviously, he didn't do well at all on 40. But he's got to be coming in being like, okay, I've embarrassed myself kind of, a couple times now. I need to get a win. He's still doing it for his family. He has 2 kids there at home. And Devin has just such a big ego that I just can't see him allowing Leroy to drag him down. And so Devin has the connections of all the new people. We know that Leroy and Nani are super tight. And so he's going to easily be in that vacation alliance. And many people from the Vacation Alliance are quite strong. And so I think that they'll be insulated socially. And I think that they might be able to hold their own in this partnership because Devin has what Leroy doesn't have. And I think that Devin might be able to coach and give Leroy the confidence that he needs. He does well when he has somebody that he's working with in the game. He does well when Bananas is in the game, kind of giving him some guidance as to what to do and how to play. Or when Cam was in the game and he was giving him guidance when he was working with KC and all that stuff. So I think that Devin might be the second coming of a Leroy whisperer, and it is going to help them do well in this game and finally get Leroy at least to a final since his, return back onto the challenge. So I'm taking the other 2 boys off the board.
All right. Wooly is saying that ChatGPT is giving Chantele bad choices. Do you agree, Drew?
I'll be again. I was not saying that so I could somehow take them off away from everybody. I do think that this is a red herring. Kind of like what Chris said. I have not been impressed with Leroy stumbling forward on All Stars 4 to make the final, but somehow get 7th place, and he looked terrible doing it. And then Devin looked apathetic on season 40. I hope, for Leroy's sake, that he can get it together. I think with Devin, they have a chance, like what we were talking about with Nani and Turbo. It's the same thing with Devin and Leroy. This is on a silver platter to get at least to the final, but I couldn't put them high enough in my ranks after what we've recently seen from them. Leroy from the past 2 seasons, Devin from last season. I had Bakery had them 6th place, and I had them not too much higher. I had them pretty much very much in the middle at 6th place. So I mean, not a bad pick at 5 if we're going with the rankings. Not a bad pick, but it's one of those things where it feels like they should do well. It hasn't been on their side recently, and I think that's the worrisome.
Don't you think that if you're all gonna down rock bottom, you have to rise up, right? You have to start climbing up that mountain. You can't just keep on going worse and worse and falling further down and down.
Tell that to Danny and Tyree.
I'll back Chantele up slightly on this one. I had them at 5th on my ranking, so I feel like you picked them exactly probably where I would have been looking at them. I hear you on the red herring call, Drew, but I feel like male team, they have to be somewhat in the conversation. Both of them, like Devin has won a championship. Leroy has been to more finals than most. I don't know if he's probably been overtaken by Corey by now, but there's a lot of experience there. This is not Leroy's first season back. We're talking about his 3rd season, I believe, since returning. Retirement now, a thing of the past, because Leroy is starting to come back season after season. Hopefully, he's getting back into the swing of things coming into this season. And I know that there's a lot of Leroy fans that would like to see him finally get one. And I like picking people with a point to prove. Like, surely Leroy's ego is bruised coming into this season after having been shown up for 2 seasons in a row. He's here, like, a lot of these challenges, they do look at the comments. They do look at what fan perception is out there. And I'm telling you right now, Leroy cannot be happy by people saying he's tarnishing his legacy and that he shouldn't have come back. He should have stayed retired. Like, if he's taking the risk, if he's saying, put me in, coach, I'm going to take a swing at this, he better be ready. And, like, I didn't want to pick him, like, but I was contemplating between Adam and Steven and Devin and Leroy. Like, it wasn't a part of the conversation for me. So I don't absolutely hate this one, but if they do go home early again, Chantele, I feel like it's over for Leroy.
We're done. I will, if they go home super early or super embarrassingly, like, I think I'll have to, stop picking Leroy and rooting for him in that way. I mean, obviously, I'll always want him to do well, but I won't be having him on my teams.
100%. Okay, let's just have a quick look at where we're sitting with the draft picks. We've got 5 picks so far. Devon and Shane, we've got Amber and Faisal, Nani and Turbo, Adam and Steve, and then now Devon and Leroy getting the 5th slot here. We're going to go over to Drew for the next 2 picks. He does get number 6 and 7. So really interested to know where Drew and aka the bakery master, are you like the head cook or the chef? What do they call the person who's like the head of the bakery? Yeah, it's baker. There we go.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing real quickly. In All-Stars 4, I think I chose Leroy. Now in season 40, Chris chose Leroy. And then you chose Leroy this time.
It's my turn to get burned.
I think we've all said the same thing of like, okay, Leroy did not do too well. I'm moving. I'm not going to pick him. And I thought I'm not going to pick him for season 40. And then I'm like, I don't think I'm going to pick him for this draft. And then Chris is like, I picked him for season 40. No way. And now I'm like, I got him. And if he does bad, I'm not going to. He's going to be down at the bottom with like Beth and somebody else the next time we have to do a thing. It's going to be like, oh, who do I want? But hopefully they do better. Hopefully they do better.
Like Leroy versus Tyree. You choose Tyree. Maybe. No. All right. So
I got the next pick. And you know what? Out of principle, I'm going to do something to cleanse all of our palates. You know, the 2 men teams just went off, and I think it's time to pick a woman team. That's right. I'm going to switch up everything, and I'm going to go with what I deemed my number 4 ranking. The bakery chose them as their number 5 ranked team, and I'm going to go with the Peanut Butter Brawler. And the UK sensation, the Atomic Blondes. That's right. I'm going to go with Melissa and Nicole. I think these 2 women are feisty. I think they are physically strong, where it's like, I think a lot of people are going to like underrate how strong they are. We all know physically how strong Nicole is, but Melissa back in the day played dirty against Sylvia in particular. And they're going to argue. Melissa can argue with the best of them. She has Big T in the house with her. I feel strongly about these 2. Nicole has a sensational record if she can stay healthy. Hopefully she's been drinking her milk. Hopefully her bones are a little bit stronger and she looks out for little divots in the grass so she doesn't roll an ankle. But I just think that these 2 women are going to be so strong. And maybe they'll kiss each other, you know, maybe they'll rekindle things a la Melissa and Laurel back in All Stars 4, you know, so one can only hope. I just have, I know they're not going to be people's favorites for this pick, but I just really like Nicole and Melissa going at this spot right now.
Was Nicole and Devin partnered up in something?
Yes.
When was it that when he says like I need subtitles and it's like a giant baby?
Season 36.
36.
Double agents. They were paired up with each other, and then she's like a Boston, not a Boston. She's a New York. She's a Rhode Island or Long Island. That's it. Long Island, like baby or something like. So yeah, that was them. So yeah, they also have Devin and Leroy in the game, looking out for him too. So thank you for making my case that they are a great pick. I really appreciate it.
I just wanted to remember whether or not they were friends or not, or like did they hate each other as a partnership.
Staten Island.
Okay, I mean, I definitely can understand why you'd pick these 2 together. I think that they are both, strong athletically. She has they have a few numbers in the game. I don't know if it's the numbers that are going to have the control and the power of the season, but they do have people that they could be working with. So I think that that's good. I'm never really rooting for Nicole. So like, I just don't think I'd put her on my team, even though I do like Melissa. Nicole just drives me so crazy. And she was just so cringe on All Stars 4 as well, that I'm like, again, I thought you would leave her for Chris to pick, because Chris loves picking Nicole. But yeah, I didn't have them, or chat didn't have them next, so that's good. I didn't have to pick them, and I'm happy that I won't, because I just don't know. I don't have necessarily faith in them getting to the end. I think they might do okay in the beginning, but I just don't see them getting to the end together.
Yeah, yes, like I picked Nicole high up in my draft once, so I'm like the biggest Nicole stan.
Number one!
Yeah. But you have to look at who was picked before I got to pick Nicole. Like, you guys took like Laurel and Cara Maria away from me, so I didn't have much choices, I feel like, going into that season. And she did go deep, in my defense, but I am worried with the way that this season is set up. Both Melissa and Nicole are not the biggest two females, so if they do go into a scenario where they've got to go head to head with one of these teams in an elimination, I could see them physically not being up to the task, or falling sort of, just the luck of the draw could potentially get them knocked out of this game. I do think that basically on my reasons for why I would have picked them, I put in Team Scrappy, probably going to be good for like confessionals and things like that. So I definitely understand it from a points scenario, and potentially, like you said, makeout points could be something that we could see with these two as well. Nothing's off the table. I'm not sure if either of them are in a relationship at the moment, because I definitely don't follow them on their socials. But and I also don't know if they would even care, to be honest. Both of them, like definitely Nicole wouldn't, I feel like, care if she's in a relationship or not going into the game. She will do whatever she needs to get to the end. But yeah, I had two teams picked higher than them at this stage in the draft. They're my number 8 team at this stage, but not a bad pick. I don't hate this for you, Drew. Like, I mean, this is kind of, we're heading towards the middle, and obviously when you get to this, it's tough pickings. It's slim pickings when you get into this. You're kind of picking for points, and you're picking to get a Hail Mary at this stage, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if the winner. If we're picking the winner this late, then we're not good at our jobs, is what I'm trying to say, Drew.
Oh, shit.
I like how you're like, I like this for you. I like this for you. If anybody thinks, I'm glad you got that. This is so good for you to pick them.
Thank you for being so patronizing. It was hilarious.
It's all good. It's fun. It's all fun to do. As
Drew may have the last laugh, by the way. If this team ends up winning, he's going to be like, I'm clipping that. I'm putting it on the short. I was the know-it-all from the start.
Yeah, I'm going to put my face on Michael Jordan being like...
and how do you think the dynamic with Corey Lay? I guess they're going to have to be working with Big T, but, are they going to be fighting still?
I feel like Corey is going to get into arguments with Melissa more than Big T, but I just feel like they're such at a numbers disadvantage, especially Corey coming into this season, that he's going to have to. He's going to be backed into a corner, and he's going to have to play with Melissa, with Big T's numbers, and then gain that way. That's just how I feel, especially in the beginning of the season. All right. As Chris was saying, we are getting down to some of the lower numbers. This is pretty much my final pick, because when I get down to the end, I'm only going to have 2 teams, and one's pretty much unpickable, and I feel like that team's going to be sitting there waiting for me at the end. So I'm going to go left instead of right. So this is my last pick, and I came into this draft really solid in picking one specific team. I might be wearing a shirt signifying my admiration for this team, but with the teams that are left, I don't know if I can pick them, because I did the trailer breakdown, and I know everybody was ringing the bell, red alarms when I was bringing this up in my tiny table talk live stream about, I looked at this, and this team kept on coming up over and over and over again. I saw them in the background of this daily challenge. I saw them here. And people were like, you've done this before, and it's bitten you in the butt. Remember Theo, when you thought you saw him throughout the entirety of season 40, and he got you 70 points and got half the points of Corey, that's my biggest regret out of and even I won that draft, and I still regret not picking Corey instead of Theo. But I'm going to go with my gut, because at this point in the draft, you're kind of, like you said, Chris, you're kind of throwing Hail Marys. I know that they're in the season, at least from a good amount of the trailer that I saw, or what I thought I saw. I need an HD version, and MTV did not put up an HD version. I had to get somebody's Twitter feed to do it. But I think I saw them in a good amount of the trailer. I know that one person on the team is very, very combative, has started plenty of fights, that of with Nani, that of with CT back in the day and everything. Also, they did an Instagram live where they decided to shoot it in the shower, and you didn't need to do that, but I got to see their physique, and they are very, very physically strong. I'm going to go with Frank and Sam as my next pick. Two champions from season 23 haven't been on the show in quite some time. I just know that Frank can get some drama points, and he's also a very strategic mastermind. I think that he's going to be somebody in the confessionals quite a bit, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But looking at everybody else, I just feel a little bit better leaning into this team as we're getting into a little bit of the unknown with everybody else. So with two champions, granted, Sam has only done one season, but champion is a champion, So I'm going to go with that. I feel like they can argue with each other. Frank, I feel, is going to pull some arguments in daily challenges in the house with Sam, with everybody else. And he's going to want to call the show. And I think he's going to be somebody out front and center for confessionals and arguments. So I'm going to go with Frank and Sam. They were 7th on the bakery notes. They were 5th for my own personal ranking. So,
yeah. Just before we comment on that one, just 2 comments that I wanted to bring up here in the live. The first one is Sam back in the live saying that it's his birthday this month. Happy birthday, Sam. I hope, there you go. Chantele
Birthday's
and
next
yourself,
week.
Sam. Happy birthday to both you and Chantele. There we go. And also, double calling you out a little bit here, Chantele. I just wanted you to be able to respond to this.
I used to think
it wasn't you.
Good looking.
It wasn't you. It was ChatGPT, wasn't it?
It was ChatGPT. I can show you the ChatGPT list.
I swear, ChatGPT made me pick him all those other times too. I swear.
Okay, well, moving on from this, Chantele, what's your thoughts on this pick of Frank and Sam going in this round?
I did see them a lot in the trailer, absolutely, but I also saw Sam struggling a lot in that trailer, like, on their hands and knees, crawling up sand dunes. So, it looks like they do a few different dailies or activities, so they're gonna have at least maybe move into the halfway point of the season with the amount of content that we've seen from them, which is great, which means that there's going to be opportunity for confessional and other points. I just don't know if I see them winning, just because Sam just does not look like she is in shape right now, and Frank does. And I saw him lathering himself up in that thirst trap video. I don't even know what he said in it, but I saw the video for sure. And I'm just wondering, is this a distraction because he wants to get as much camera time as possible because he's not going to end up winning? I'm always curious when people are coming out into the open right before their season starts. Does that mean that they just don't do well? Because it's always the winners are usually very quiet, right? So I'm just curious as to what's his strategy with how he wants to present himself right now. So obviously I love Frank. I'm excited to see him back here. He's very smart, big hot head. I don't really remember right now how many connections he really has in the game. Does he have any friends right now?
I don't. Nani?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, not really. So they might have to prove themselves a bit. I don't know. So I think I could see them getting to the halfway point. I don't see them winning right now. I do think that Frank is going to get a lot of confessionals. So I think it's a middle of the road pick, and so it's tight.
Yeah, I just had a quick look in the background, so I'm not going to proclaim to have known this from the outset. But obviously, Frank, having played in Free Agents, Leroy was on that season as well, so maybe they stayed in touch to a certain degree, and then Nani, the other person, so maybe some connections there. I do think that if you're picking this team, which it's not a bad pick, I probably would have leaned towards this direction myself next. You're just banking very heavily on Frank and what Frank has done. And this is no shade towards Sam, because Sam is also a champion. Sam's won that season, but I remember Frank screaming at Sam a lot that season, and Sam sort of struggling a bit. So that will be interesting to see how they now work in a deal where they're the only team. It's not a bigger team like they worked in previously. And if Sam can keep up with Frank. But Frank is a beast. He played 3 seasons from memories prior to this, and he made a final. He won a final. And yeah, like I'm excited to see him come back and play the game. If nothing else, even if Frank goes out mid-season here and only lasts for a couple of rounds, hopefully this does mean that we get more Frank in the future, because I know that he's been on the Michael Lewis podcast a few times saying that he would like to come back. So this is not new. He's been on that podcast saying that he would love to play the challenge again. So he finally got the invite back. I don't know why it took this long to get Frank back on a season. Maybe it is because the producers just haven't stayed in touch. Maybe. Yeah, it's possible. I'm not sure what he does in his... Yeah, I'm not sure what he does in his personal life, but I know that he's been open to coming back. So maybe with this being a shorter season, we get him back. I'm excited. I'm excited about this pick. I don't know how they're going to go, but I also can't say that this is a bad pick because I don't know who I would have picked ahead of them going into the next rounds here. So I'm very curious because at least the pressure isn't on me to make this next pick. It's going to be on Chantele to go in this next one. So
it's not on me. I'm not taking
GPT. Here we go. If you lose this one, it was never... I didn't lose it, Drew. It was Chat GPT who made me lose this draft, is what I'm hearing.
I mean, I can't do any worse, right? Than like having no players in the final. Or just like I could just match that. So I got a lot of room for improvement here. So I'm hopeful. So I'm gonna go with the team that you guys thought that I was going to pick before. We have a winner that's going to get a lot of confessional points that I do see a decent amount in the trailer. Now I know Ankles isn't necessarily a comp beast, but they are, she is an elimination beast. And so I'm hoping that this is the dangerous duo that Chat GPT says that they are going to be, because Chat says that they'll earn points through eliminations, drama, and confessionals. And even if dailies aren't their strong suit, they're going to do decently well. So let's see if Ashley can get Anissa a win on All Stars 5.
Wow.
Here we go. Here we go. Biggest pick of the draft so far. We've got Anissa and Ashley taken off the board. And you know what? This was the very moment that I realized that Grok was going to let me astray. Like, Elon Musk has it out for challenge fans. I feel like with this Grok GPT, because it had Anissa and Ashley as the second highest draft pick for me when I did it on Grok. Grok was really high on their chances to win because Anissa's got all this experience. Clearly, they haven't actually seen her perform in finals. They've just seen her get to some finals. They've seen her win statistically some eliminations, but not very high personally on the chances of Anissa and Ashley winning this season. But I know at this point, we're not necessarily picking winners here, Chantele. We're picking people that we think will give us points, will give us some fighting points, will potentially do really well in eliminations if they get in there. Ashley's a very capable and smart player. People have been wanting to see Ashley come back and play the game for quite a while, but I really can't wait for that first confessional where Ashley looks at the cameras and says, "What the hell, production team? What the hell, Challenge Gods? You put me with Anissa this season? Are we supposed to have a rivalry? Because I don't know about it. Like, I've not seen where this rivalry is from, where it was born, if it was on social media or anything. Like, I've never actually seen them be confrontational with each other. And I feel like Ashley's rivalry after this season is going to be with the production team for putting her in this bloody spot where she's got to work with Anissa. Love the fact that Ashley's back. Anissa's clearly coming back for the paycheck now. Drew, what's your thoughts on this pick?
This pick is interesting because I had them ranked 12th, and so did the bakery. So we had when I said that there's two teams that I thought that I would be choosing from, this is the one that I was planning on choosing with my last pick, because I wasn't going to pick a different team that I know now is going to be there no matter what. But look, here's what I'll say good about Ashley and Anissa. One, in the trailer, they're featured a ton. They're yelling at each other. I feel like they could get into arguments with other people. When you have players with such big personalities like Devon, like Shane, like Frank, and Ashley all in a season together, they will argue with each other as well as argue with their own teammates. So to me, that's going to be points. Definitely Anissa being on the Challenge Official podcast will get points. Ashley coming back after such a long time, points. I feel like this is a solid team. I just felt like with Anissa being in the atmosphere that I didn't think that they would be chosen as highly. Like I thought I would get the sneak pick at the end,
Right.
but I don't think it's a bad pick. Again, what we've all been saying is that it's kind of like a crapshoot towards this point in the draft. So you're kind of just picking the points on the table and hoping for the best. Now we did see Anissa and Jordan go deep on season 38, make the final. Who knows what could happen? Ashley does great in pressure situations, in eliminations. Anissa, we've seen her do great in eliminations. What can they do together? Let's see. I feel like this is a big question mark. Like I'm not super low on this team, but also I was planning on picking them with my last pick. So I think this is one of the bigger question marks in my mind for the draft.
So of course I was worried as well with.
Oops, we may have lost Chantele there for a second.
Got her.
All right. Well,
but
are you there still, Chantele?
Oh, I'm talking, but you can't hear me.
Okay, you're good.
Strange. Did you hear anything I said?
No.
Okay, so I was also worried about Anissa. So I plugged in. I am worried about Anissa and her physical ability. I know that she has a great elimination record, but others may do better than her in dailies, and depending on the format, may get voted in. But she does have some decent connections, i.e. the Vacation Alliance. And chat responded, your concern about Anissa's physical ability is valid. Her endurance and in Daily Challenge has been a recurring critique. While her elimination record is strong, her tendency to struggle in endurance-based or agility-focused dailies could make her an easy target for votes. However, as you mentioned, her social connections, particularly through the Vacation Alliance, i.e., it says Nani and Leroy, but I think they're kind of complaining that, and other longtime allies could help protect her from consistent targeting. So it's like, here's how you might approach Anissa and Ashley in your draft strategy. And so Ashley's winning record, Ashley's 2 championships prove that she can perform under pressure, especially in high stakes situations like finals. Drama and confessionals, Ashley tends to deliver highly entertaining confessionals, arguments, and emotional moments, which could rack up points even if they don't win dailies. Elimination strength, Anissa's elimination prowess, and Ashley's versatility could help them survive even if voted in multiple times. And social protection, Anissa's strong ties to the Vacation Alliance may reduce the likelihood of being targeted early. So I stand with ChatGPT here.
All right,
So-
you're putting a lot of faith in this AI ChatGPT challenge robot here. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. Like all I'm saying is it's going to be a wild shoot. It's a crapshoot at this stage, right? I've got the next couple of picks, and there's not it's slim pickings. It's slim pickings out there. I think I'm just going to go with what my original rankings were, and I had this team ranked at number 7. Which in hindsight, looking at it, may be a little bit high, but I'm gonna stay with them, and it's gonna be Kellyanne and Sylvia for my next pick. Reason for it being, Kellyanne has competed quite recently against some really strong competition. If you think about World Championship was probably the season that I enjoyed the most from Kellyanne. I actually thought that she was trying to play the game on her own terms. She was trying to create this counter alliance to go up against some really powerful players in the game, and I do think physically she's still capable to hang. She's capable to hang with most people out there. And then Sylvia, I know a lot of people weren't the biggest of fans when Sylvia came back in All Stars, but I remember her, even though she didn't go as deep, she had a really good performance. She won a couple of dailies in that season from memory, and had a bit of an alliance going. For some other reason, I'm not as good, Drew, at the history of the challenge as you are. I know you make your living out of it and you go back and watch a lot of these seasons over and over, but I feel like Sylvia and Shane have got some sort of alliance or potential friendship between them. So yeah, again, I feel like yeah, exactly. Yep. Lavender Lady. So I feel like she is coming in with some connections there, and if Devon and Shane does really well, they could pull into a Big Brother type of alliance with a Vacation Alliance. So I think if I'm looking at the numbers, maybe Kellyanne is in a better position coming into this season compared to some previous seasons, even though I know she's horrible at playing that social game at times. I'm really hoping, because I really do like Kellyanne. And Kellyanne and Sylvia together, I feel like could be a strong pairing. Thoughts on this pick here, Drew, in the spot?
I think it's really solid. I think it's really, really good. And I had them ranked seventh as well on my rankings. So I think that this is a really good pick. Eighth for the bakery. Both are fit. Both are young. I think that we saw in the trailer that they're yelling at each other, and that's points. I just feel like both of them have gotten second place in a final. And I think when both players' heads are in the game, they can do wonders. And like you said, Sylvia has the Lavender Ladies. Kellyanne does have some connections here via the All-Stars web because she's been here since season 1, season 2, season 3. I think she's done like almost all of them except 4. So
Exactly.
And then she just did 40 for a split second, but on that season, she got to probably hang out with Leroy and Devin and a couple of other players, Anissa and everything. So I feel like this is actually a pretty decently solid pick. So I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, well, not only are you impressed, I think Chris also in the comment section here said that she didn't expect that pick from me. I don't know why, Chris. You didn't expect me to pick them.
Because you doubt mothers. And Sylvia's mom.
Exactly.
If you stepmom, though, that would be different, I guess, right?
All right, Chantele, thoughts on this pick?
I think you got them in a good position. If I was going with my own thoughts, I would probably have taken them before the team that I chose before this. So, they're both pretty strong. I'm curious if there's going to be a little bit more drama that hasn't been ironed out between Sylvia and Melissa. Who knows if they're friends again? And I think we saw in the trailer preview that Kellyanne and Sylvia did have a little bit of an argument, right? They were right. Am I making that up? I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
They did. They were yelling very loudly at each other.
Okay. And so, yeah, I think that they're going to get some points, this team. I do worry about Kellyanne for the fact that sometimes she flounders under pressure. And, she can't do puzzles. I don't remember Sylvia's puzzle abilities. Is she good?
I think so. I believe so.
If that's the case, then maybe they could be a nice little good fit pick here. So yeah, I think that ChatGPT had them at number 5, and so you're getting them at 7. So I think you did a good thing. So I hope they do well.
All right. Still hanging in there because I do have to do the next pick here as well as we get into the final round. And this will be my last pick. Kind of sad. We've gone through this so quickly. I've been having so much fun trying to decipher who is going to be the teams to look out for. And this is kind of, I feel like, where I'm at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes into this because there's a couple of players, I don't feel super high, and I can say this now because I'm not picking one of these two teams. I don't feel super high about Katie and Veronica. I don't feel super high about Beth and Janae. So that kind of leaves me with Big T and Corey and Ashley and Dario. That's kind of where my thinking is. But the problem for me is I don't remember Dario and Ashley all that well. And that's why I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I almost am leaning towards the team I know. And I don't think... Yeah, I know they're dated and now they're rivals, apparently. So, but I don't really remember them from their season, so that's not a good sign. They clearly didn't make an impression on me when I watched it back in the day. So I'm going to just go with the known quantity, or the known entity, I should say, here with Big T and Corey for my next pick. And the reason for that is that Big T, lover or hater, I think the fans at times have been divided, probably more so lover recently, is a big personality and is someone that the camera loves, so she will get lots of confessionals. She will be funny. She's got that connection with Melissa. Her and Melissa is never going to turn against each other, so with that, she's clearly working with Nicole. Hopefully, with Nicole having been on seasons recently, there's connections that she can work on. Big T and Corey, I don't think that rivalry is going to prevent them from playing a good game. Corey is a game player, and he will put game first in this instance. And I do think some people still sleep on Corey. I do think Corey is a competitor, and he's someone that if you go up against them in an elimination, similar with Big T, she's got a big heart. I can see them winning some eliminations. I can see them hanging. I don't think they're winning this season, but I'm hoping for some drama points here. I'm choosing drama points at this stage. Drew, thoughts on Big T and Corey being taken off the board?
I think it's a really solid pick. I'll be for real. They had a really solid season, their most recent season. If we're talking about being worried about Devin and Leroy because of previous seasons, we have to bring up the recent seasons of Big T and Coriel. They couldn't get into arguments with each other, and Corey has shown that he can be outspoken with everybody and anybody. And when he thinks that somebody is coming after him, he will be loud. And there is enough people to get loud with on this cast. I think Corey is one of the second biggest or third biggest guys in here. So you got that going for you. Big T is, I think, really strong on puzzles. She can cook for the house. So I think that's really solid. Coming in with baked in numbers with Melissa, which then gives you Nicole, which maybe gives you a siphon to Devin and Leroy. I think that this is a really solid pick. Bakery had them at the 9th, right under Kellyanne and Sylvia. So I think you're really solid. I had them around the 9, 10, 11 pick system after everything. So I don't know. I think this is a really solid one. I mean, I could see them winning daily challenges. If there's puzzles, I can see them doing well. Corey's coming off of season 39 final appearance and everything. So I think you're good. I think this is really solid. And I feel like there's a reason why you don't remember Ashley and Dario, and it's because they're unremarkable.
Fair enough.
I think the whole situation with Dario is that CT said on season 30, which I think was the last time we saw Dario, he said all he did was sleep all day, every day in the Redemption house, and there was nothing to film for him. So it's one of those things where it makes sense why you can't remember them because you went with Big T and Coriel, and I think that it's solid. I think out of everybody who's left, that's a really solid pick.
Thank you. I feel better about that. Chantele, thoughts about Big T Corey being picked here in the last round by me?
I think that your last round, last pick, I think you got a pretty decent one out of who's left. I think that they would be the most favorable choice. We'll see if they can work well together. We saw Big T was able to work pretty well to get with CT. Will Corey have that way to be able to finesse their partnership? I don't know. And I don't know if Big T will be able to finesse how Corey's going to work. What if they have balance beams? I don't know. They could derail their team.
Or anything with heights. Didn't Corey have a massive fear of heights as well?
I don't know.
He freaked out in the final.
The little anthill, he was freaking out over it. I'm like, what?
I completely forgot about that.
I forgot about that.
But if he makes a final, and he freaks out at that point, I'll still love it.
Look at the sand dune that you see Sam crawling up, right? Do you think that he's going to get to the top of that and freak out? I don't know. So, I mean,
Fair.
Yes, he got to a final in his last showing. Big T has been doing a little bit, not horribly, not out first or anything like that. And she has some connections there. I don't know if they have combined the social capital that they won't be kind of a layup team or a team that many people might not mind throwing in. I don't know if people will be scared to throw them in, that they're going to come back and have some power because they're going to win some dailies. So I'm not sure, but I think in this position with who's left in the game, I think they're a great pick.
Yeah. All right. So you do have the mic, Chantele, and the next one is your pick. You're going to pick the second last team of the draft.
I know, and I mean, not that I have great options to choose from. I mean, I love everybody. I'm just saying in terms of who I think is going to get the most points. I don't know if these are the most point-getting teams, well-rounded. But who ChatGPT has next is somebody that you scorned, and I'm like, oh man, what if they're gonna surprise me, right? We got a back-to-back champion, right? And that has come back and hasn't been doing well, but maybe is gonna have something to prove going back onto All Stars where she's made it happen twice. So I'm hoping that with some maturity, being able to speak to Beth. Beth, yeah, she gets on people's nerves. She gets a fight with people. So we know that I'm going to get some argument points from Beth. But maybe Janae will be the Beth Whisperer, and they'll be able to work together at least a little bit, and do okay. I just don't want them to be gone first, but at this point, they would be who I would think would be the first boot of the season, which is
Where's
really
Drew?
scary to see.
Like, Drew's gone. Drew, you're right.
I'm just wondering. Is anybody else see this comment that's on my screen, or is?
Oh,
What is the
Wait.
comment? Where is it?
I don't know. I accidentally think I clicked on something and now it's just stuck on my screen, but I don't know.
Oh, it says Corey also fumbled that first part of.
I think I misclicked on something and I'm trying to get it off. I don't know how to get it off. So I think I accidentally.
I thought you're like
Oh, there we go.
making a dig at me or something, being like,
No.
something I said about this pick has messed up my computer because it's so bad.
No, I was trying to hit the arrow and then I think I accidentally clicked the comment and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Now, ChatGPT
Crisis averted.
does say that Johnny's recent wins has made her a strong competitor, but also Beth's physical performance may hold them back. But they'll likely earn points from confessionals, drama, and could potentially have some challenge successes. So,
All right. So there you go. So what's your thoughts, Drew, on the last pick here for Chantele?
So she's going with Beth and John A. Is that what I'm hearing about?
Yep.
All right. So the two people
What did you
that
have them?
I
Let's
thought
start
that
with
I
where
was-
did you have them ranked? I want to know where
It would've
did you
been
have them ranked.
your last.
13th, and then Bakery also had them at 13th. So they were sitting down at the bottom. Look, I've been banging the drums for John A. Slays all day, but John A. has not slayed in quite some days after All Stars 3.
It's not okay.
Has it been like 2 years or something now?
It's been so long. It's been so long, and I held on to that John A stock for so long, and I got to speak to her, which was awesome at one point. But there's a point where I started like stepping back a little bit. I'm like, okay, there's a point where you gotta do something. You gotta.
I got Leroy and John A, two people that everybody's like, okay, stepping away from these draft picks because
Look,
they got some losing stink on them. Oh.
Out of all the rivals, they are the most rivalist. Like, they have some real deep beef. And if we know anything from Beth, she likes to stir it up. And I think that there can be this I don't even know what to say, a storm about them that they can bring on the house. And I'm hoping for John A. I'm rooting for John A. You know, if John A can win with Beth this season, holy heck, that is incredible. We just haven't seen John A. Slays in quite some time, and I worry. You know, I don't think they'll be the first out, but I do worry about their longevity within the game because Beth is somebody who is very polarizing. So I just don't know if they'll get last. If Beth is like, I'm going to stand on principle. I don't like you, John A. So I'm going to quit this daily challenge. So we go directly into the elimination. And then she quits in the elimination or something. I don't know. Somebody throws her whole suitcase in the pool again. And then she wants to get in a van and leave halfway through the game. Who knows? You know? So
I just say something? I feel like if Janae can learn one thing, she needs to get, like, I don't know if these guys have got like talent managers that go out and, you know, negotiate for contracts when they go back on these seasons, but whoever's doing Anissa's contract negotiation with the challenge, she needs to get that person hired like last year, like 2 years ago. She should have hired that person because Anissa's had recently Jordan and now Ashley to come back and play in a season. So she's getting like phenomenal players, champions in their own right, carrying her ass on these seasons, similar to Nani with Bananas and the likes of a Turbo being her partner. But at one point here, I thought Janae was like the golden child of All Stars. Like they were trying to create this narrative that she's the queen of All Stars, and suddenly they do not give a crap about her. They're putting her with Beth. Like Beth is a fun character. She's good casting from an entertainment standpoint, but they're doing Janae dirty this season. So like for me personally, I put them dead last on my rankings as well. They were number 13 on my rankings, and I do feel sorry for you. I mean, this is the last round, Chantele, so it's like you can't do much worse. Like, I mean, any of these picks, we don't know where they're going to land, but it's a tough one. I don't know who I feel more sorry for, you getting her or Janae actually having to go out there and compete with Beth. Probably Janae. Janae has been done so dirty by this, and like, I'm not even the biggest Janae stan, but Janae she's great. I just don't want to see her legacy be tarnished by appearing like this. Like, it's actually got me a little bit heated thinking about it right now. So I don't know if you guys have got any thoughts. I just rambled there for a minute or so, but clearly they need to bloody do something about this. Like, Janae needs to like negotiate better coming into these seasons.
Definitely. I was saying the same thing as you. It's like, oh, who did Janae get mad in production that's not allowing her to come back to, well, not defend her immediate title, but at least one of her victories. Yeah, I'm curious because why, I don't know what's changed. If maybe there's some tea out there that we just don't know, but they are still inviting her back. So maybe she said she wouldn't come back because she couldn't commit for that long. And so they're like, okay, we'll give you a partner that you won't stay in the game for too long. Maybe they have some sort of arrangement like that. I don't know. I mean, people are coming for me for choosing to go with ChatGPT, and I get it.
It's all in fun.
I'm just trying something different to have a good time, and it's not that serious. We're not playing for real money. I haven't won in a long time, anyways. So it's whatever. It's what it is. And you guys can roast me and make fun of me about how bad the picks are. It's just going to make it more entertaining, right? Watching the team just crumble.
Listen, can I say something on this, Chantele?
Will be entertaining. Yeah?
I need to say something on this. Chat, cool down on Chantele. You guys were Chantele's ChatGPT 2 rounds ago. When you had the opportunity, all the power was in your hands to pick Chantele the best reality pick team of all times. And guess what? You guys fumbled. So don't come for Chantele like this. Leave her alone. She's having fun with ChatGPT today, okay?
And see,
I've got your back.
I just allow myself to be at the mercy of AI. Maybe AI knows something that I don't know. Like maybe it's be able to predict something that I can't see because of what I know about these players in these real life. But maybe this is going to be a season where just things go differently, and maybe I pick the best team. Who knows? But no matter what, I will complain about it, but it's all in good fun. I don't actually care. Okay?
I feel like we need to get the point tally up on what the points were in the season that chat chose for you, and then ChatGPT. And then the real competition this season will be, did ChatGPT outperform the live chat on this draft compared to that season? I'm sure Drew still has the numbers. Drew, should we put like a friendly wager on here to see if ChatGPT can beat the live audience?
I mean, we can do it. Would it work out?
But
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, 6 players for each team was on that season. Oh, with Kahuna. Okay, here we go. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 players. So it's gonna be roughly the same amount of players. If we want to try to see if you can. Yeah, I mean, we could do it. Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it.
I feel like
I like it. Listen.
You got second place. You had Laurel and Steve on your final team that season with the people picking your. Oh no! Hold on! No. Okay, so this is gonna be weird because they picked your team for the quad. So there's gonna be 6 total players for the quad. So I feel like looking at this, you got third place and you had Laurel on your team. And I think with the pairs and everything, you're definitely going to beat this draft having 2 extra players. I would think.
Well, I guess we could do like an
If
average.
That, I don't know about this.
Average per player,
But
points divided by the average of the players or something. I don't know. We could work something out. All I want to do is
do that.
I want to hold Chad accountable for calling Chantele out. I want to. This is the real rivalry we all deserve to see this season. It's called the Challenge
Okay.
All Stars Rivals 5, and then it's the rivalry between Reality Realness and the live chat here on the draft. I feel like that we can't go any deeper than that. It's like the perfect outcome to this draft.
I'll keep an eye out for it. And I will have a special tally of like minus this with this, and then we'll see like at the end what the final tally is.
Love it.
I think it'll be good.
Love it. I kind of feel like Wes right now on Traders, where I'm just like putting something out there that maybe if someone's that confident, there's more to it. I don't know if you guys have watched Traders. I don't want to spoil too much, but I absolutely loved the last episode. Another challenger dominating or having a strong performance in the early stages of the challenge, or the Traders, I should say. That's what we need to see. Okay, back to the draft. You've got the final pick, Drew, for the draft. Who is it going to be? You've got to choose between Katie and Veronica. Clearly, there's a lot of history there. Two very strong individuals. A lot of fans love them coming into this season, but they're going up against two absolute dynamos in Ashley and Dario. Tough choice. Where are you leaning towards in this conundrum between these two teams? One team will be undrafted for the season.
If you told me that I was going to have the opportunity to either pick Dario and Ashley K and Katie and Veronica, I wouldn't have believed you. But I will say that I did think in my original like predictions and everything here that I would have to pick either between like John A and Beth or Katie and Veronica, just because Katie and Veronica, despite having 4 championships among them, they are the smallest of everybody in there. And I think they haven't had the strongest. I think Katie made the All-Stars 1 final, and then Veronica almost made All-Stars 3, but got injured, or All-Stars 2 and then got injured. So this one's tough, because I have a lot of respect for Katie and Veronica. I think that they are incredible. I think Veronica is highly underrated for what she is given to the challenge over the years, and how she was one of the people on Mount Rushmore to really bring it into the era that it is. But on my shirt, it says I got too hype. And I didn't think that it would take me this long to talk about why I have this on my shirt, because back in season 27, Dario and Raffi went up against Corey Wharton and cousin Mitch in an elimination where Raffi almost won. And that's when Dario says, I quote, Dario got too hype and body bumped his brother off the edge of the stage to where they lost the elimination. And Raffi was like, what happened? He's like, I'm sorry, man. I got too hype. And that one scene is the most overplayed scene in my brain. At least once a day or 6 times a week, I will think about that moment once. And for that reason, and because I am wearing this shirt, and because they are able to be picked in this moment that I didn't think they were going to be picked. I had this predicted to go to Chris with his 10th pick, because physiologically they should have been able to get farther into this game. But I will go with a mother in Ashley K. I will go with a man who can get too hype. And I am going to go with Dario and Ashley K.
There we go. All the picks have been picked here in the draft, with Ashley and Dario in the last round pick here. Like I said, I don't have much to add on them because I don't really remember them that much. So I'm going to defer to Chantele, aka ChatGPT, see if she's got any thoughts on this pick being picked ahead of Katie and Veronica in this last round. Chantele?
Well, Chat had them actually in 12th position, saying that they're solid competitors, but unlikely to stand out for drama or confessionals. They may struggle to accrue points consistently in the highly competitive field here. So ChatGPT doesn't have as much faith as Drew does with putting the quote on his t-shirt. ChatGPT does not feel the same. But I do think for age, They're young. They're going to be pretty strong. One thing, though, that Ashley just doesn't have that much fight, but she does have alliance in Frank and Sam from her original season. They've won together, so she does have some numbers there. So maybe depending on who wins some power, that might keep them secure. But she's just like, she just doesn't have that much fight. And so I just don't know if she's ever going to get too hype to be, even winning eliminations. But I mean, at this point, I think that they're a decent pick, especially in the last position. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and thoughts on Katie and Veronica not being picked?
Oh, I think that people are going to riot in our comment section for this one.
Oh, I turned the comment section off. Anything they can say, they're going to have to sit with that for a while.
Riot now in the chat while this video is going.
if you want to riot in the chat, but it's not going to be afterwards. That's all I'm saying.
I see. Well. Yeah. Then we'll be good then, because I know a lot of people are big fans of both Katie and Veronica. They're going to be super good at confessionals, potentially drama as well, but they're just not going to be strong physically. And together, like they don't really complement each other physically. We know Katie is terrified of heights, especially heights over water, so that's likely going to happen if they get there, and they're not going to do well. Veronica just hasn't been great at much lately because she's so teeny tiny. She's so small. And I don't know if they'll last all the way to trivia for them to get a win. So I understand why. I would probably have wanted to pick them earlier if I was going with my own heart. You know what I mean? But my heart has not got me a win. So maybe allowing them to not get drafted here might help my win percentage or potential. So... sad,
there we go. Well, that is the final teams heading into this season for the Challenge All-Stars 5 Rivals. Drew, Chantele, and myself, we've picked our teams. We've got a poll going up. It's been up for about 2 minutes now here in the live chat to say who's got the best team. And so far,
me.
Surprise, Drew in the lead with 47% of the vote. And Chantele, you and I, we're locked together at 27% in the second spot here.
Okay, people don't completely loathe my team as much as yours. That's good.
No. I think, and I also think that some people maybe didn't, like, we called them out a little bit for being anti Chantele on the live for doing the chat GPT. So maybe, this is your time to show some love to Chantele. You can give her a vote and let her know if you like her team.
This is my karma vote, my karma point.
This is your karma points vote. Like, if they wanted to rig it right now, they could, and you could go from potentially having the team that no one believed in to actually winning the draft before it even started.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, well, we could decide at the end of the draft how the karma points and the vote will affect the final results. We won't tell anyone before the end. We'll just make it up as we go, right? And we'll just,
as long as it allows me to
this
win.
Is how it works.
Go from third place to first.
Yeah. This has been so much fun. I really enjoy it. Like, it's been a while since we've had all of us on a live together, and it's been really fun to talk about the challenge with both of you. And maybe what we can do now is read a couple of comments before we start closing things off here, just to see what people think, how they're sitting with the team. So if you want to leave us some comments here before we finish off the live, let us know. What do you think of the season? Are you hyped? Whose teams do you like? Who was picked way too late in the draft? We'd like to know all of it. Get hyped. Like Drew here on the show. Dolores is saying, Chantele, I have been having the TV on with this. I've been cleaning and doing. I had to stop and step in. You got a great team. ChatGPT, heck, why not? You got this. Dolores is showing you a lot of love here, Chantele.
Thanks, Dolores.
Yeah. Chris is saying we are not anti-Chantele. We love the Aquarius Queen.
Thank
Joanne
you.
as well saying love Chantele. Willie's saying I don't have Chantele. I don't hate Chantele, but her draft is terrible. She listens to ChatGPT and will thank her. Willie is not thinking ChatGPT's got this.
I don't know. I don't think that I'll actually have the same results, but I do know somebody that just did a loose consultation with ChatGPT for sport betting. and they gave them some good picks. So I was like, well, let's see if it worked to win them some money. Like, let's see if it could work to that. But this was, they're working with like official stats and stuff like that. And so they're giving like a statistically like what would be the best picks for certain things. So I didn't have that type of accuracy. So I don't think I'll have the same results. But I was just thinking like, it worked for successfully for some sports betting. It's going to
I
work for
tried
my
it.
freebie draft, right?
I tried it with Grok, but it just had some really weird rankings, and I was like, I don't know about this. I'm pretty sure it had like certain players that I thought like Turbo and 90 was way too low. It's like 10 for something like that. And I'm
Oh
like,
no,
nah, can't be.
this one had it third.
Yeah, so that sounds like it's better. I should have done ChatGPT. W saying Veronica ain't done shit in 15 years. How do you have CT as a partner and flop? So, yeah.
I will say that Willie did say that Veronica was on All Stars 4 and made the final, which she did. She could have gotten a little bit farther and gotten into fourth place, but everybody's saying like makes an apology to Katie and Veronica. I'm sorry, but I'm not the only one that didn't pick her. Like we had 12 picks and nobody picked her. And I'll be for real. I am not going to be up here saying that Ashley and Dario are a better team. Okay, I will say that if Katie and Veronica. I could see Katie and Veronica making it farther than Ashley, Kay, and Dario. Heck, even if they don't make it farther than Ashley, Kay, and Dario, Katie and Veronica could still have more points than them at the end of the season. I did this purely because of a meme. So I have the highest respect for Katie and Veronica. When I am wearing I Got Too Hype, I can't leave Ashley, Kay, and Dario sitting there. I picked a mean girl for season 40 and it worked out for me. I just didn't pick Veronica this season, but I have the utmost respect for them. I'm not going to make sorry videos for Veronica and Katie stands because guess what? Maybe I am one of them. I just went with a meme instead.
Fair enough. So awesome. Curious saying, love for Chantele. Your team sucks, but I love you. So Dreadful Ruby saying, I've got pretty sour taste in my mouth from All Stars 4 and 40, but there are a few people I'm excited to see. Hopefully that production won't mess it up. I think that's where all three of us are sitting at as well, right? Like none of us are coming into this season thinking, wow, production slammed it out of the park in these last two seasons in the final with the stars and the karma votes having such a big impact on placement. Really annoying when they do that, Drew, especially since, we never liked it when they tried to say we want to be known as like America's fifth major sport. But if you're going to go down that way and you're going to say, oh, well, this is like a legitimate competitive show and it's going to be based on who's the best, surely you can't be doing it. Have they changed their tune? We haven't heard them talk about that. Maybe they do now just want to be like the best reality TV show and game things, because you can't have your cake and eat it too, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what the most frustrating thing is, especially to us as like the audience and like actual fans of the show, not casual fans who don't do fantasy drafts, who are in live chats with the fantasy drafts and talking about these players in real depth and taking this way too seriously like we do. But it is frustrating because in season 40, all the pre-stuff said America's fifth sport. And so it is frustrating when that is your advertisement, that you lean into that and then you show so much of the competition side and then you still want to have these gimmicky things of karma or stars. I understand you want a twist, but at the same time, that's not a sportish kind of way to go about it. And I know I've heard some stuff of Zach and Jordan talk about how the game changed after season 24, where they had to like put in the rules ahead of time to get all of it like figured out and locked in to make it fair and everything. And then that all changed around 24, 25, where they basically said they can make up whatever they want to, whenever they want to, for the sake of entertainment, which then be entertaining. Like, show us the entertaining stuff, I mean, there's a ton of shows that don't show like hookups and all this other stuff, yet they're still entertaining. So I don't know. It's frustrating. Speaking of Zach, I just wanted to throw this out there. I do have all the people from Real World San Diego that won. So, woo!
Well, and I'm
Let's
also
go.
wondering, like, do I have the most winners or at least finalists on my team? I feel like I could be up there.
Oh, let's have a look.
Definitely have like what, 3 or 4 winners.
1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 winners on your team. I have 3 winners on my
Well,
team.
I've
from
got
Battle
one,
of the
two.
friggin' Seasons. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, and it still counts. Uh, and Chris has
Two, I
2
think.
champions. 2
Yeah.
champions.
You
Not
guys are
bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah, you do have.
hating on winners, huh?
And fun fact, there's 4 championships sitting on the sidelines right now.
Well, that is a very good comment because BBG95 reckons that Katie and Veronica will outscore at least 5 teams in the draft points. It's a big call.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, so maybe we could keep track of that stat too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do a
Just
fantasy
more
game for
homework.
my Patreon, so I'll have all their scores on the as we go along because I'm sure somebody will pick Katie and or Veronica during the season. So I'll be keeping a track of everybody. So yeah,
Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. The last hour and 50 minutes have gone by so quickly, and it's been because it's been so long since we've done it. We definitely need to do 1 or 2 lives. Like, I'm going to be doing a lot less lives going into this year, but definitely keen to get us back at some stage in the future. Maybe do another. We could do a conclusion of the season and see where we end up on the draft picks for sure. And let's see how the next couple of months pans out. It's just work keeps me super busy, and my schedule's a bit unpredictable. So you'll see me on the channel pivot towards a lot more short form content for the foreseeable future here on the channel. You would have already seen I'm dropping a lot of traders content. I'm dropping Deal or No Deal Island content. I can't believe we've got Dr. Will back in our TV screens. Love Dr. Will. It's been fun to see him come in so hot on Deal or No Deal Island. And I'll continue to do that also for Australian Survivor and Survivor 48 when that drops later on in the year as well. So let's talk about what's happening on all the other channels. Like, Drew, what's going on your side? I'm assuming you're ramping up and getting ready for this season of the Challenge All-Stars 5?
Yes, I am. I'm going to be doing a lot of things on the YouTube side of things. I have getting in preparation for All Stars 5, also doing the review and recap for the reunions, and then getting everything excitedly ramping up. If there's ever a super trailer, I'll cover it and do another breakdown. Hopefully it'll be in HD this time. I can also do some breakdowns on the teams and where everybody's sitting. I am also planning on doing an Ashley deep dive look back at her first win, because I think that low key it is one of the most underrated wins. She came into the season, nobody thought that she could win, especially going up against Camilla and Nicole in that final, and then she comes out victorious. So I thought that would be really fun to look back on that season and do like I did with CT's look backs at his first wins and everything. Speaking of CT, I'm also really getting in deep with the CT docuseries that I've been working on for quite some time. I've done some voiceover. I've started editing the first part, and it's coming along nicely. It'll be up hopefully in February, first for Patreon, and then a week later I'll be releasing them on YouTube every other week once that happens. But I'll make an announcement, and I'm looking forward to putting it all out there. So February, it looks like, will be the dates for the CT docuseries, which I'm looking forward to.
Amazing. Can't wait to see that hit, because I know whatever you do, you put a lot of effort into it. It's always a quality production. So can't wait to see that on your channel. So for anybody that gets to this video and you've never heard of Angel Cake, which that would be insane, because in my opinion, and I'm biased, best content creator for the challenge content here on YouTube, go subscribe. Angel Cake Vids puts a lot of effort into all of the docuseries that he puts out there, and weekly coverage, recap and reviews from each season, as well as he's got a great Patreon that he does a lot of off-season content or behind-the-scenes content for. One of the most active Discords as well. So if you want to be a part of that community, go check out Angel Cake Vids on YouTube. Chantele, you've also got your own channel, Reality Realness, and you do a lot of content on there as well. Tell us what you're up to at the moment.
Well, in 5 minutes, you're going to be able to catch me and Drew talking about this most recent season of The Traitors, USA Season 3. So
Nice.
Definitely, hop on over to Reality Realist with 3 S's and catch us discussing a really fun episode. Definitely enjoyed it. I can't wait to hear Drew's thoughts about the season so far. And I will be concluding with the reunion. So I'm going to probably do part 1 and part 2 together and just kind of recap and do a little wrap up of season 40. We'll probably do that maybe Thursday next week. It's just been a little bit more challenging figuring out scheduling with it not being easy to access anymore in Canada. So it's like, gotta wait for this time for this to drop and can only watch it here. Like it's just been a little bit more difficult. So trying to get into a flow and a groove. So hopefully I'll have that ironed out by the time All Stars 5 comes along, which we will be covering over on my channel. And I'm thinking about catching up on All Stars Love Island UK. 1 week has gone by and I haven't covered it yet, but I think I'm going to catch up, cover it, and start doing daily coverage for that show. So that's all I think I have going on right now, but it looks like more shows are starting. So you'll be seeing more of me. So just subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and then you'll know when every time I go live and, join in on the fun.
There you go. Reality Realness with 3 S's, everybody. And I've got the final tally before we finish off the live here for who has the best team. Drew does take it out at 50% of the vote. People reckon he's got the best team. Chantele, you're in second with 27% of the vote. And then I am in dead last, 22%. So all the work to be done here. It's kind of the same order as the draft picks. Drew had first pick, Chantele had second, and I had third. Just putting it out there. No, this was a lot of fun, everybody. Really enjoyed catching up with both Chantele and Drew and everybody in the live. Thank you for being so active and for commenting. Can't wait to see who wins. Is it going to be the chat GPT Chantele, or is it going to be the live draft pick from the commenters on the previous season? Like, where's that going to end out? It's the rivalry we've all been waiting for. But if you really like this channel, if you like, and want to support all 3 of us, we really appreciate it. Please subscribe to this channel and all 3 of our channels, and we'll catch you on the next live. Bye, everyone.